Hello fish fools, Jeff here. So this is my 10-gallon quarantine tank. So I have a process. Any new fish that I get, I keep them in quarantine temporarily until they are deemed ready to be moved on to their permanent homes in various aquariums that I have. And so this is the latest batch. This, as it is, would make for a nice group of community fish, but I have plans for these, so all these in this one community tank right now will be spread out over 7 different aquariums that I have. And now I'm about to move some of them, the first few fish, to one of my tanks. So I showed this group of quarantine fish in some previous videos, and most recently the quarantine period was extended because one of the Sailfin mollies, the male right here, had a swollen eye. I believe it was the fish ailment known as Popeye. And so I kept them in quarantine and did a full round of Maricin treatment. So a full round would be 5 packets for 5 consecutive days, and that eye has recovered. So that Sailfin molly is looking great, and it appears that has done the trick. I thought maybe I might have to try aquarium salt. I've never even used that before, but going way back, almost 4 years ago, the first time I tried Sailfin mollies, they had some issues, and I bought some aquarium salt back then. Never ended up using it, but I thought maybe this time I might try it, and I still might. It's built, so if I have any other issues, I'll separate them and do a salt treatment. But yeah, so all the fish in here are looking good, mostly. One other sort of issue has developed was the male black molly seems to have its fins clamped a bit. I mean, otherwise, you know, its scales and fins do look good, but it was shimmying a little bit, and it's, you know, like its dorsal fin is like clamped down, like compared to, say, the female, which still has its fin spread out. But otherwise, it's looking good. All the other fish are looking good. They'll all be spread out to different tanks, and I'll be going through that. But I'm going to move the pair of Sailfin mollies, so this male and that female, and the red flame Gourami. Those are all going to the same tank, so I'm going to do that first, because the tank they're going to is ready. I did a water change on that tank 2 days ago. As I move some of the other fish, I'm going to do that the tanks that they're going to, when I do water changes on those tanks, and kind of do it all at the same time. So yeah, so I'm going to show you where these 3 fish are going, the pair of Sailfin mollies and the Gourami. We'll be going to my 29-gallon. Let's take a look at that. Alright, so this is my 29-gallon Swordtail community tank. This is where those new fish will be going. And when I initially set this tank up, almost 4 years ago, when I lived in my apartment, I set it up initially to be a Sailfin molly and Swordtail community tank. So that was the first time I tried Sailfin mollies, and unfortunately that didn't work out, and so no mollies lasted, but the Swordtail population has taken off, and I do need to unload some of these Swordtails. This is getting pretty crowded. But also this tank has my panda corridors, and they have been spawning in here. And right now there are more panda cories that were born in this tank than the initial ones that I added. So I know at the peak recently, after feeding them and seeing as many out in the open, I counted 15. I know that I initially had the original 2, and then I added 8 more, so 10 that I added, and I do know that I lost 3 along the way, so at a minimum there would be 7 originals, and I counted 15, so that would be at a minimum 8 that were born in here, so yeah, that's pretty awesome. But yeah, and there's different sizes from large full-size adults to some little juveniles, but yeah. And along with that, there's also some Harlequin raspberries, penguin tetras. So originally I had 4 of those. I lost 1 of the 4 originals, the big ones, and then recently added a couple more. So there are 5 in them, 2 that are smaller recently added. And there's a few zebra danios left. One is the longfin that I got from a Petco that I didn't initially purchase, but that just came along, got scooped up in the bag when I was getting other fish at the time. Another female, I think that's it, maybe just the 2 of the danios, but yeah. So we'll be adding those Sailfin mollies and the Gourami. So I have been keeping a Gourami in here most of the time during the duration of this tank. A couple powder blue Gouramis, one at a time. Powder blue male dwarf Gouramis. So, you know, each one lived for about a year in the tank, and I lost them, but instead of replacing with another powder blue Gourami, I decided to go with the red flame Gourami. So yeah. Oh yeah, and there is a Siamese algae eater as well. Alright, so I'm going to gather up the mollies and the Gourami, and then I'll show them as I add them to the tank. Stand by. Alright, so I gathered up a pair of mollies and the Gourami here in this little specimen container thing. So I'm going to mix this water with the aquarium water from the 29 gallon to acclimate them a bit, and then I will release them. Alright, so I just ended up doing a small water change. While I was in the process, my hands are wet. I wanted to wring out the intake sponge there. So now it's getting a little clogged up, so now it's going pretty good. And now release the new fish. So a pair of Sailfin mollies, a male and a female, and a red flame dwarf Gourami. Alright, so as they've been released, there's the male and female mollies. And the Gourami. So that red flame Gourami matches the Swordtails. Like I mentioned, I had previously been putting powder blue dwarf Gouramis in here and didn't really match. So yeah, with these Swordtails, these are neon Swordtails, and there's green Swordtails, and I had some red Swordtails, but like some of them I bought as neon Swordtails, and I kind of figured just as they mix in how to create a neon Swordtail is crossing a red and a green. That's kind of how they come out. But yeah, I'll be like mixing genes now. But yeah, I mean this Gourami matches the Swordtails, and yeah, there's some in the corridors. I kind of doing water change. Things got stirred up a bit, so more of the corridors are out. And I do have a ton of Malaysian trumpet snails in here. There was a time when there were some Neocaridina shrimp in here. I haven't seen any for a while. I believe that population has gone extinct or just ended, but I do want to add some more. I have some in other tanks, so I'll try to get that population going again. Yeah. So we'll see if this is my second attempt with Sailfin mollies. So, and bought as Sailfin mollies from Petco. I mean, I do believe they are still like hybrids. I mean, sold as Sailfin, not like true Sailfins, whatever the actual species is. But you know, the male does have a Sailfin dorsifin, but the wild Sailfin mollies have giant Sailfins, and they're like green. But yeah, we'll see if I have better success this time. First time around, did have some babies, and one of them lived a year or longer, but it never did thrive. It never really got full size. It was kind of a runt, and it was just kind of flawed, like it had like a tumor or something. But yeah, we'll see if we can get population going here. I mean, if anything, like the swordtail population, it took a while to really get going like this. It wasn't until the subbosser tank was added and filled in. So maybe if they have some babies, even despite having, you know, such a heavily stocked tank with a lot of other fish that could eat babies, that will have cover with the subbosser tank. I mean, that male is even right upon entering this tank giving the female attention. Alright, yeah, so that is just one of 7 tanks to move fish from quarantine to, so I'll be doing the rest, including my 6-foot 84-gallon community display tank. I believe I'll be doing a water change on that tonight, and that's when I'll move those fish in that tank, and you know, the others along the way, some more later this week, and I will document those moves with videos as it happens, so stay tuned for that. Alright, and that's it for now, and remember, I'm Jeff, and I enjoy fishes. Thanks for watching.